Breath of the Wild's massive open world is chock full of references and Easter eggs from other games. One game that gets a ton of attention when it comes to these callbacks is Skyward Sword, which makes sense as it was the last 3D Zelda game made before Breath of the Wild. In this video, I will be explaining every Skyward Sword reference and Easter egg that I found within the game. So sit back and let's get right to it. In Skyward Sword, one of the most prominent structures was the goddess statue. This massive idol overlooked the town of Skyloft as the citizens were all heavily connected to the goddess Hylia during that era. There have been no other signs of the goddess statues in Zelda games until now, as they can be found in just about every single town and village in Hyrule. Now why exactly are these statues becoming relevant again, you may ask? Well, sadly this is not explained anywhere within the game that I know of, but hopefully we will learn more about this in a future Zelda game. Moving on, there are three major points of interest that are direct references to Skyward Sword: the Forgotten Temple, the Spring of Courage, and the Spring of Power. The Forgotten Temple is a huge abandoned place located at the northeastern end of the Tanagar Canyon. The ancient ruins of this place are littered with decayed guardians, and at the very end is a massive goddess statue. This place is a direct reference to the Sealed Temple from Skyward Sword, most notably in its post-game state. Although these two places don't exactly look alike, they both have major similarities in architecture and format, along with the massive goddess statue that exists in both games. The Spring of Courage and the Spring of Power are both direct nods to the Skyview Spring and Earth Spring respectively. In Skyward Sword, Link visits both of these springs on his quest to find Zelda, and in Breath of the Wild, Zelda prays at both of these springs with the hopes of awakening her sealing power, so it's nice to see that both of these games feature the places within its main story. Unlike the Forgotten Temple, these two places are nearly spot on in structural and architectural similarities. Moving away from structural references, let's discuss some of the more subtle nods sprinkled throughout. I'll get the most obvious one out of the way first, which is the Fi reference within the 17th memory. After Link falls in combat, Zelda hears an ancient voice that resonates within the Master Sword. The sound the sword makes during this part is the same exact sound effect used when Fi pops out of the Master Sword in Skyward Sword. Right before the sound effect is played, the background music switches from playing the main theme to Fi's farewell. Take a listen.
Sword. So he can still be saved?
This is definitely a grand callback to Fi's reawakening, as Zelda states that she was able to hear the voice within the sword. Even though it was made clear in Skyward Sword that Fi will never reawaken, I can only theorize that Link's death along with Hyrule's demise is what sparked her to revoice herself temporarily. At the end of the game, Zelda states that she is no longer able to hear this voice, which wraps up my theory very well, as Fi was only able to have a voice in rather desperate times. The rest of the references shown off in this video all take place at the end of the Trial of the Sword. Shout out to one of my subscribers, Brionis, for pointing this one out to me. Right after Link pulls the fully upgraded Master Sword out of its pedestal, a very grandiose fanfare accompanies this accomplishment. Notice it yet? This same exact fanfare is played after Link tempered the Goddess Sword in Skyward Sword. The last reference I found takes place directly after this moment, when Link gets transported back to Hyrule to embrace his glorious achievement. This reference is almost identical to the one found within the 17th memory, except this time it serves more as a clever Easter egg. It was definitely a clever reference that fit very well after restoring the Master Sword. That is all for the Skyward Sword references in this video. Should I make more of these types of videos, or do you have any other ideas for future uploads? Be sure to leave any feedback in the comments below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.